Howdy folks, Luke Simons with you. Back to the Basics 101. I apologize, I have not been making many videos. I just haven't. I've had a lot of things going on, just like everybody else. Trying to make a living. My health is doing a little better. And I've been pushing a little bit, trying to play catch up for the last 4 years of Guillain-Barré, French polio, whatever you want to call it. And it's been crazy. But I was just thinking about something. I was just telling somebody not too long ago an old story, and I must have told this story maybe 100 times. And my dad told me it when I was a young man, when I wanted to go hang out with my friends and my buddies. And it's as relevant today as it was then. And this is the story, so bear with me. A farmer had about a 12, 13-year-old boy. And that boy was to that age where some of his friends were making a couple bucks and whatnot. And of course, the boy had a farm. You know, his dad bought the farm. Now you got to work it kind of concept. And he couldn't afford to pay his son. So what he did is he took his son to I think it was like four acres, something like that, 5 acres. This was way back when. And he said, son, you know, you're pretty much worth a hired hand. He said, I got you trained into exactly what you need to be, but I can't afford to pay you. And I just want to make this business opportunity for you. He said, anything you plant on this acreage, you can have it. I will supply the seed. I will supply the equipment, the horses, the plow, the cultivator, and the harvesting equipment. I'll supply it. The young man instantly seen an opportunity to get into farming, and he wanted to farm. So he took that opportunity, and his dad would go in for lunch or maybe supper, and his son would take the team with the planter and go, or even just work up the land, I guess, first. And then, he'd get his work done and then be ready for work with his dad whenever his dad was ready to go back in. And of course, then the seeder would come out and he would help his dad all day long. And in the evenings or through lunch break or whatever it was, he would jump over and start farming his little piece of land. Spring was there and gone, and summer was upon him. Of course, planting corn, you have to cultivate corn back in those days. And so he would jump over. After he was done with his dad, he'd start cultivating corn. In the fall of the year, of course, he'd get to harvest. If he had a good year, there might be a little bit there to put in the grain bin or just take it right to town and sell it. So the years went on, and that 5 acres turned into more, and then turned into more. And pretty soon he was pretty much an adult, 16 years old, 17 years old. And the farmer, his father, was able to expand the farm a little bit because now he had a full-out son that had full-out interest in the farm. And of course, he was making his own wages by that time. Well, his friends came over in the spring of the year and said, hey, let's go to town, go carousing. He said, no, I really can't. I've got some ground to break up. And in the spring of the year again, they'd come on over. Hey, let's go down, let's go do something, And he said, well, I'd like to, but I got some corn to plant. In the summer of the year, his friends would come over, the young boys would come over and say, hey, let's go down to the fishing hole. Let's go to the fishing hole. Maybe we'll even jump in. It's hot. He said, I'd love to. I really would. And maybe this weekend or Sunday after church, maybe we can. He said, but right now I've got corn to cultivate. And time went on. There was fall. And the boys came over and said, hey, did you get your deer license? He goes, I sure did. He said, let's go deer hunting. He goes, I'd love to. But maybe I can do it when it's snowing. They said, I don't want to do it when it's snowing. It's going to be cold and nasty. He goes, well, right now it's nice. And I've got some corn I've got to harvest. Well, this didn't go exactly unnoticed over the years. And finally, the young man, his father, was cornered in the church. And in the back of the church, when church was let out, those boys, his fathers, came and kind of cornered that man. And one of the men said, you know, there's more important things than raising corn. And that farmer, he kind of fiddled around, looking at his pocket knife, fiddling around in a kind, gentle, soft-spoken voice. He said, I think there's might been a mistake here. He goes, see, I am not raising corn. I'm raising a man. Folks, that's a story I grew up with. And there's a lot to be said for that. There's a lot to be said for that. School sports and all this stuff, and I don't mean to step on your toes. I'm saying this kindly. The school sports and all these little things that we got our kids involved in, that's all good and dandy and good. But it's really not teaching them life. You got to learn sacrifice. You got to learn sacrifice. To kill one's will for the better good of society is the best thing you can do. And Jordan Peterson, who's one of my heroes, I pray for him that the Lord will give him insight on who Jesus is. But Jordan Peterson, he said the most important thing that you can do for mankind, for humanity, is to teach your children how to be socially acceptable, how to be social mannered by age 5. The most important thing you can do. Heavy duty stuff, folks. Some country wisdom. You're not learning a whole lot today, but that's what I have for you. I apologize for not making a whole lot more videos. Just praying about my country. Folks, things don't change. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. That's what they're doing. I don't even understand it. Rabbit trail. Formerly beautiful country. A country that 15 sovereign countries, a state means country, that come together in a time of war. Southerners, Northerners, Eastern, Western, will come together in the time of war, come in time of hardship, be one people. Now they're trying to segregate us, tell us there's a difference. There's no difference. All lives matter, folks. All lives matter. I guess I'm overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm not scared. I'm not scared. Had somebody told me that the state militias would be marching on their Capitol buildings for our liberty when I was a young man, I would have called you a darn liar. But now it's happening so many times in short amount of time that it's become normal to people. The Greeks, the Romans, Germany, when they started doing things like this, There was a civil war that rocked their world, folks, and they never recovered. Our great country is brought to her knees right now because we've walked away from God. Godly principles that built this country. I apologize for getting emotional, but I love this country. Maybe I love it too much. I know Jesus is not an American. I know that. But what our founding fathers stood for once upon a time to give us this opportunity. And we just ponder it away, just give it away. And people don't even know what it means. It makes me so angry. It makes me so angry. Folks, I'm going to lose it. That was a total rabbit trail. I was talking about raising young men, but that's part of it, really. We got to teach our children what it means to be an American. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's what it meant. Do your kids know the Declaration of Independence? Do they know what it is? Have you read the Constitution of the United States? The Bill of Rights? Do you know your rights, your God-given rights that come from God, not from man? They don't come from man. You don't own me. No one owns me. God owns me. If I fall out of line, if there's a victim in a crime, then come talk to me about it, but otherwise stay away from me. I get so angry. All these regulations are destroying my nation. Destroying them. Government thinks they know best. Ronald Reagan said the 9 scariest words in the English language are, "Hi, I'm from the government and I'm here to help." Another Ronald Reagan quote he said was, the government's philosophy of government. He said, if it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. And if it stops moving, subsidize it. That's exactly where we're at, folks. That's exactly where we're at. My government was once upon a time set up, I'm ranting right now. My government was set up to protect my God-given rights, not take them away. I'm a sovereign individual. Don't even go there with me. He said he's sovereign. Well, my founding fathers said I was sovereign. I am a sovereign man. No government has the power to tell me what to do on my own land unless there's a victim in a crime. All these government regulations are destroying my nation, destroying it. I get irritated. I get so irritated. I have a whole zoo full of pet peeves. Well, folks, I just had a phone call. Anyways, you got an earful. May the Lord guide and keep you. And until next time, remember, you're not raising corn. I'm not raising cattle. I'm raising a family. Teach those children. You could be raising the next president of the United States. You could be raising the next George Washington. You could be raising the next George Washington Carver. Ooh, there's a good one. That's a good book. From Chains to Freedom, I think is the name of the book. Excellent book. Book recommendation. Folks, may the Lord guide and keep you. Happy trails.